Hey everyone! Do you like coins? What if I told you that a quarter in your pocket right now could be worth thousands of dollars? Today, we're talking about 4 rare Washington quarters that look normal but are super valuable. Let's see if you might have one in your pocket. Let's start with a big one, the 1983 P Washington quarter. The P stands for the Philadelphia Mint, where it was made. Now, here's the crazy part. This coin, if it has the right kind of error, could be worth up to $15,000. So, what makes this coin so special? Well, to understand that, we need to go back a bit. In 1983, there was something unusual happening with U.S. coins. The U.S. Mint didn't release any mint sets that year. Normally, the Mint produces special sets of coins for collectors, fresh, uncirculated coins. But in 1983, that didn't happen. This meant that most of the 1983 coins that went into circulation were used a lot and were already worn down by the time they reached the public. Most of them are in bad shape and worth only face value, which is 25 cents. But here's where things get interesting. Some of the 1983 P Washington quarters have an error that makes them super rare and valuable. The error is called a double die reverse. To explain that, let me break it down. A double die error happens when a coin is stamped twice instead of once. This causes the design to be slightly off or doubled, and you can often notice it in the details. On a double die reverse, the back of the coin, where you see the eagle, gets stamped more than once. This makes the images look blurry or thick. For example, you might see the letters on the coin looking double or shadowed. It's subtle, but if you know what to look for, it's easy to spot. Now, not all 1983 P Washington quarters have this error. So, it's important to check your coins carefully to see if you've got one with a double die reverse. If you find one, and it's in great condition, you could have a coin worth thousands of dollars. Another thing to look for is the quality of the coin's surface. Some 1983 P quarters have been kept in perfect condition, no scratches, no wear, and all the details look sharp and clean. This is called a full strike. Coins in great condition like this are especially valuable because collectors love them. When you see a coin with sharp, clean details like that, it can mean the coin hasn't been damaged or worn down by use. A coin with a full strike is much more valuable than one that's been used a lot, even if they're both from the same year. So, while a regular 1983 P Washington quarter is worth just 25 cents, one with the right double die reverse error and in great condition could bring you a huge payout, up to $15,000. It's all about spotting the right details and having the luck to find one of these rare coins. If you're out there looking for coins or sorting through your change, don't overlook your 1983 P quarters. With a little bit of attention and a keen eye, you could be holding on to a coin worth much more than you think. Next up, we've got the 1991 D Washington quarter, and this one can be worth up to $2,000. So what makes this coin so special? The D on the coin stands for the Denver Mint, where it was made. In 1991, millions of quarters were produced, but not all of them are worth much. So, what makes this one rare? Well, it's all about the errors and the condition of the coin. Let's first talk about those errors. One of the most valuable errors on the 1991 D Washington quarter is a misstrike. This happens when the coin isn't perfectly centered when it's stamped. It's a mistake that's actually quite rare and can make the coin really interesting for collectors. When the coin isn't centered properly, it can cause parts of the design to be off-center. This can make the coin look slightly distorted, with some details getting cut off or misaligned. A misstrike is considered an error that adds value to the coin, and collectors love these types of mistakes because they're so unusual. Another type of error you should look for is a clipped planchet. This sounds a little odd, but it's actually something that can make a coin really valuable. A planchet is the blank metal disc that gets stamped to make the coin. If the planchet gets clipped or cut wrong before the coin is struck, it results in a coin with a piece missing from the edge. The edge may look jagged or incomplete. This happens because the coin was not fully cut to size before being stamped. While it may look strange, this error is rare and highly prized by collectors because it's something that doesn't happen often. But here's the thing, even if there isn't a major error on the coin, the condition of the coin is also super important. If your 1991 D Washington quarter looks almost brand new, with sharp details and no scratches or wear, that's a good sign. A coin in mint state condition is considered a high-quality coin because it looks like it just came out of the mint, with no signs of age or damage. This kind of coin can fetch a higher price, even without a big error. In other words, a coin that's in excellent condition can be worth a lot more than a worn-down coin from the same year. Collectors are always looking for coins that look fresh and shiny, as if they were just made. These mint-state coins can sometimes be even more valuable than the ones with errors, simply because they're hard to find. Many coins get scratched, damaged, or worn out as they circulate, so a coin that looks almost perfect is always in demand. In addition to the errors and condition, the demand for these types of coins also plays a role in their value. The rarer the coin, the more collectors are willing to pay for it. A 1991 D Washington quarter with a misstrike or a clipped planchet and in perfect condition can definitely be worth much more than a regular 25-cent coin. In fact, some of these rare quarters have been known to sell for as much as $2,000, depending on the error and the condition. Alright, let's talk about the 1986 P Washington quarter, and believe it or not, some of these coins are worth up to $3,000. So, what's the story behind this coin? First, the P on the coin tells us it was made at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, while the 1986 quarter isn't that old, it's still pretty special to collectors. What makes this coin stand out is not just its age, but the errors it may have, and the condition it's in. Let's talk about those errors first. One rare and valuable error to look for is called a broad strike. A broad strike happens when the coin is struck without the collar that usually holds it in place during the minting process. Normally, the collar keeps the coin's shape and size correct, but when the collar is missing, the coin can end up looking stretched out or even a little odd-shaped. The design on the coin might also look larger than usual. This kind of mistake doesn't happen often, so when it does, collectors really want these coins. If you've got a 1986 P quarter with this broad strike error, it could be worth a lot more than just 25 cents. Another error to look out for is called an off-center strike. This happens when the coin is stamped in the wrong position, causing part of the design to be printed off the edge of the coin. This can make the coin look a little incomplete, but if a large portion of the design is still visible, it can make the coin even more valuable. Collectors really love off-center coins because they're so unusual. So, if you have a 1986 P Washington quarter where part of the design is missing, but you can still see enough of it, it might just be worth a lot of money. Now, even if there's no big error, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. Coins that are in great condition are always more valuable than those that have been scratched or worn down. When you look at the coin, check if the details are still sharp. For example, look at George Washington's hair and make sure it's clearly defined. Also, check if the lettering on the coin is crisp and clear. A coin with strong, sharp details is much more desirable to collectors. Another thing to check is the coin's shine. If the quarter looks shiny and brand new, that's a great sign. A coin with a brilliant shine is called a full strike, and that's what collectors are looking for. These coins haven't been worn down or damaged by time or use. If you have a 1986 P quarter with sharp details and a bright shine, and it has been graded highly by a company like PCGS or NGC, then you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars. Let's talk about the 1990 P Washington quarter. This coin might look like an ordinary quarter, but in some cases, it can be worth up to $1,500. It all depends on a few rare errors and the condition of the coin. First, the P on the coin means it was made at the Philadelphia Mint. Just like the other valuable quarters we talked about, this one becomes special if it has certain mistakes that happened when it was made. These mistakes are called mint errors, and collectors love them because they are hard to find. One of the biggest errors to look for on the 1990 P quarter is called a missing clad layer. Let's explain what that means in simple terms. Normally, a US quarter is made with a copper center and a shiny nickel layer on the outside. This nickel layer gives the coin its silver color. But sometimes, the machine messes up, and the nickel coating isn't added. When this happens, the coin looks strange. It has a dull copper color, kind of like a penny. If you ever see a quarter that looks brownish or doesn't shine like normal, it could be missing its clad layer. This missing clad layer error is very rare, and that's why collectors are willing to pay a lot of money for a quarter like this. If your 1990 P quarter looks copper-colored on one or both sides, and it feels a little lighter than usual, you might have found something special. Another error to watch for is called a die crack. This is a small raised line or bump on the coin. It happens when the die, the metal stamp that presses the design into the coin, starts to crack or break. When this damaged die keeps stamping coins, it leaves behind little cracks or lines. These lines are raised on the surface and can sometimes look like veins or lightning marks. Most die cracks show up near the edges of the coin, but they can be anywhere. Die cracks are not as easy to spot as missing clad layers, but they are still very popular among collectors. If your 1990p quarter has one of these little lines, take a closer look with a magnifying glass. The bigger or more noticeable the die crack, the more valuable your coin might be. Just like with all rare coins, the condition matters a lot too. A coin in great condition, with no scratches, dirt, or damage, will be worth much more than a worn-out one. If your quarter looks shiny, clean, and has strong details, like clear letters and a sharp design, that's a really good sign. Conclusion: so there you have it, for ordinary-looking quarters that could be worth thousands of dollars if they have the right errors or are in great condition. The 1983p, 1991d, 1986p, and 1990p Washington quarters may all look like the spare change in your wallet, but each one has the potential to be a hidden treasure. The key is knowing what to look for: misstrikes, missing clad layers, off-center errors, broad strikes, die cracks, and of course, coins that are shiny and sharp, as if they've never been used. These small details can turn a regular 25-cent coin into something worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So next time you get change at the store or go through your old coin jar, take a minute to look closely. Use a magnifying glass if you need to. That one little quarter might just be a rare collector's item waiting to be discovered. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who might have some hidden gems in their pockets.